When I was asked to speak tonight, I immediately said yes, which I'm usually reticent to do driving from Beit Shemesh, for two reasons. The first I'd like to begin with, and the second to end with. The first is, as was mentioned, Hakaras HaTov, for Lissi being one of the most devoted students one could imagine, being there every Sunday. When I spoke to her during her illness, she said, this is my Shabbos treat, to go over the Mari Makomos, to be able to read them. She says, why are they only 8 pages? I need longer so I can go through it all of Shabbos. So someone had a tremendous she'ifa for learning, for growing, and for, as we'll speak about tonight, implementing that which she's learned. I'd like to speak about tonight, and with the rain we're not going anywhere, so we can have a long time together. I'd like to speak about the idea of Adar on 2 levels, and on each level to be able to take the lessons and be able to tie them in with Esther Fega's life and lessons that we can derive. We know the mazel for Chodesh Adar, the sign, the zodiac sign for Adar, is dogim, is fish. And the Sefer Torah, Rav Eliyahu Kitov, brings down a number of understandings of why specifically fish. The fish is a mazel shel bracha. It's a sign of blessing. It's mechuse min ha'ayin. It's concealed from light, from the eye, and therefore doesn't have an ayin hara against it. And we know Chazal tell us the fish did not perish in the Mabul, in the flood. And Klal Yisrael are compared to fish in being in this way above the mazel, as well as fish who are surrounded by the koach of Torah, of water. Klal Yisrael are surrounded by the koach of Torah. Rav Eliyahu Kitov also notes that this is the only mazel which is in the plural. Granted, the scales of the Moznaim of Tishrei and the twins of Sivan are also in the plural, but they need them to be in the plural. But that which is in the singular, a scorpion or any of the other animals, are all in the singular. The fish is unique, it's that it's a plural. Rabbi Eliyahu Kitov mentions to correspond to Adar Rishon and Adar Sheni. Others hold that only Adar Rishon is the fish, and Adar Sheni is the composite of all the mazels. The first question I'd like to try to understand a little bit more deeper is, what is the inyan of Adar and the fish? What other ideas can we learn for our lives? And the second, which I think is a very fundamental idea and very relevant for us right now, is what does a leap year demand of us in our avodas Hashem? We know on a technical level, source number 2, the Rambam in Hilchos Kiddush HaChodesh tells us that Chodshei Hashanah im Chodshei HaLevana, that we know that we have 2 counts. We have the count of the solar year, which is 365 days a year, the lunar calendar, which is 354, which leaves a difference of 11 days. And over a number of years, that difference is going to come into a month's worth of time. And therefore, Chazal, who understand that unlike the Christians who follow the solar calendar and the Muslims who follow a lunar calendar, the Jews try to mitchashvim b'shtei hamarot. We take into consideration, and we like the achdut, the unity between both calendars, and therefore we make sure that both calendars are in sync by adding a second Adar. But the question is, we know Ha'adam hu olam katan, an individual is a small world. Va'olam madam gadol. And therefore, if we have in the world around us the shemesh and the levana, the sun and the moon, which in two others have to be in sync with each other, the question we have to ask ourselves as our second question is, what is the sun and moon within us that they too need alignment, they too need equilibrium? Or in very simple English, what should we be working on in Adar Rishon? That is the avoda of this month, where clearly Adar Sheni, it's Purim, and the avoda of Purim, what is the avoda of Adar Rishon? So I'd like to answer these questions on two levels. We'll try to have Kritzas Haderech because the hour is late. On level number one, we know from the Sefer Or HaLevana